Hi, you guys. Evie, the original master here. So this week has been a really boring week for me. Is because that I haven't been providing that much uploads this week. Excuse me. Is because that I just didn't have anything big or major to upload. So today I just want to sit here and just review the first episode of SpongeBob because since I don't have anything big and major, I'm just going to sit here and review the very first episode of the series just to have some type of upload that is not boring to the public. So the first episode includes Help Wanted, Reef Blower, and Tea at the Treedome. So for the first episode, Help Wanted, episode 1A, this was actually a pretty decent introductory of the SpongeBob series. So in this episode, SpongeBob gets a job at the Krusty Krab, and then so he gets a job there, and Patrick encourages him to get that job. So we were introduced to SpongeBob SquarePants, the main character, Gary, who is his pet snail, Squidward Tentacles, who is originally already an employee for the Krusty Krab. We see him cleaning up a graffiti mess that he's done that has the word loser on it. And so he sees SpongeBob arriving to the Krusty Krab. This episode had some really good dialogue in it. The show introduces the characters very well. SpongeBob is the happy-go-lucky sponge. Patrick is his dumb friend. Mr. Krabs is the money-making boss. And Squidward is the grouchy, grumpy neighbor. And they introduced the characters very well. I do love the anchovies scene where the anchovies came to the Krusty Krab and attacked it, while SpongeBob went to the bargain mart to get this weird-looking spatula. So at the end, SpongeBob goes to the kitchen of the Krusty Krab, makes all these Krabby Patties, and finally gets a job at the Krusty Krab. This episode was pretty good. I give this episode an 8 out of 10. It's not the best episode of the whole SpongeBob series since this is the pilot episode, but it was a really good introductory. Now moving on to Reef Blower. Now, this episode was completely different than any other SpongeBob episode that you guys normally see. Instead of having full off the ground dialogue, it's one of those silent movies. So, the people behind SpongeBob decided to do a silent movie type of an episode where the characters do not speak. All you see is interactions with SpongeBob playing with the Reef Blower. I mean, it's kind of funny to see all the crazy things SpongeBob do with the Reef Blower, but it ends up the episode not being top notch. There were some good moments of SpongeBob draining all the water or sucking up all the water with his reef blower to a point where Squidward can't breathe. And the only thing that is close to dialogue in the episode was a subtitle text of SpongeBob saying the word you with quotation marks over it. That was like the only slight bit of dialogue that we got of the episode. Other than that, it was just a quiet, silent film type of an episode, and it kind of works pretty okay, but at the end of the day, it's not a good episode. It was rather an okay side. So I have to give Reef Blower let me think of a rating for Reef Blower. I might give it a kind of a 7. Yeah, I'll just give it a 7 just to talk about it, just for the heck of it. Now, the last episode of the first episode, 1C, this is actually a 3-segment episode. There's a 1A, a 1B, and a 1C. Tea at the Treedome. So Tea at the Treedome was actually a really good episode. SpongeBob introduces to Sandy, Sandy Cheeks, the squirrel character of SpongeBob, who is first seen off fighting a clam. And then so SpongeBob and Sandy meet up with each other. And so Sandy then invites SpongeBob over to her house for tea and cookies. So SpongeBob goes over to Patrick's house, tells Patrick that he met Sandy. And Patrick prepares SpongeBob to meet up with her. So SpongeBob enters Sandy's Treedome for the first time. He notices there's no water in there because Sandy's a land creature and she doesn't need water to breathe because she needs air because she's a land creature. In fact, when they were introduced to each other, Sandy actually gave SpongeBob a grand tour. I actually do love their relationship here, and I think the way how they introduced Sandy was a pretty good way to introduce a whole new character. Unlike other TV shows, SpongeBob SquarePants does an example of introducing all the main characters only in the first season. Because I know in other shows, they tend to introduce more new characters along like in the second or third season, while in season 1 of SpongeBob, pretty much all the main characters are introduced in that one full season. So, SpongeBob struggles through living in Sandy's Treedome, And that's where the hilarity begins to roll along, where SpongeBob is trying to escape from Sandy's Treedome over the fact that he can't breathe in it. Patrick comes in, he can't breathe in either. They all dried up, and this episode actually predicted Feral Friends, which is a season 10 episode, because it shows some of Patrick dried up and all shriveled up, and that's what Feral Friends was kind of portraying. So SpongeBob, Sandy, and Patrick becomes best friends. They drink tea and they live happily ever after. Good episode. I really do love Tea at the Treedome. This episode also gets an 8 out of 10. Well, hope you guys enjoyed my review on the first episode of SpongeBob, Help Wanted, Reef Blower, and Tea at the Treedome. All very great, decent episodes, except for Reef Blower, because that episode was just kind of okay. Nothing much happened, but it was a nice concept of them doing an episode without the need of dialogue or talking, just interaction and stuff, which is the only time we ever seen that in SpongeBob. Well, until I come up with something big and major, I think my next upload will probably be on New Year's Eve, because tomorrow I might not have anything big or major to upload, so don't expect me to upload anything tomorrow. If I do upload something, then it's probably a pre-made movie that is not part of my main of lineups of uploads, but it will be out tomorrow if I provide an upload. But if there's no upload tomorrow, then that's your reason. It's because I don't have anything major at this point. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome Friday, and I'll see you guys next time.